YouTube is blowing up, saying that Claude Code is the best model release, better than ChatGPT, better than Gemini. I've been in AI for nearly a decade, building it, breaking it, and seeing what really works. And I'll be calling BS on the bad advice.
And I'll be keeping it human as we go up in the AI.
I'm James.
I'm Tanya, and welcome to Up in the AI.
All right, so let's just dive in. Tanya, what do you know about Claude Code? And I'm talking about Claude Code, not just the normal Claude LLM.
Okay, thank you for that, because I might have got confused. Very, very little. I mean, I know what you've talked about it. I know that you feel it's awesome, and I'm super here to find out what exactly it is. There are a bunch of people that are convincing me that this is what I need to be using too. So tell me everything.
Okay, so first we need to understand what the difference is between Claude and Claude Code. Now, just for context for the people that are listening, this is not going to be a discussion about how to use it to code, because essentially that's what Claude Code was originally built for. But what's happening is that people are actually starting to use Claude Code for day-to-day activities. They're building agents, they're using Claude skills, all things that we'll go through or we'll touch on. And they're using this to monetize their IP and streamline their day-to-day. Now, we'll be releasing something on my YouTube channel that actually goes through how I use Claude Code and Cursor to run a lot of my daily activities for my AI agency, how I built a whole framework and monetize the IP. That will be a full screen share. So anyone that's interested, that should be released similar time as this podcast, hopefully, and just go into my channel and go find it. For now, what my goal is here today is to convince you, Tanya, that see if you get to understand how it's used, and then convince you to move away from ChatGPT and into Claude Code. With one amazing caveat, and that is last few weeks, Claude actually released something called Cowork. So I no longer have to convince you to do it in the Devi tools that I use. I can actually convince you to do it directly in the desktop application. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, but my stomach dropped when you said move away from ChatGPT. You mean I can never use ChatGPT ever again? Because
you're an AI person, so you really should be using the best tool for the best situation, or you're becoming an AI person. In fact, your usage of ChatGPT is probably higher than mine. So,
yes, I think it was, if I remember the stats. Not as high as my dad's though, which is crazy. Anyway,
how old's your dad?
85. I think he was in the top 1 percentile of chats created with ChatGPT in 2025. It was nuts. What is he talking to it about? I don't know.
My dad's also using it. He's 84. We've just moved house. We're up in the Sunshine Coast, beautiful country, and I've got a dedicated office now, which I'm building out into a little bit of a studio. Right now, my 84-year-old father is sitting next to me, and I had taught him various things on AI, but yesterday he was like, can you help me with this thing? And I was like, yeah, just talk to ChatGPT. He's like, but can you show me how to do it? It's like, Dad, I'm very busy trying to do stuff. It's like, please, just come down. And I sat down, and he wanted to merge these documents together, this heads of terms. And he had a baseline one, and then somebody had marked up another one, and somebody had given comments in an email. So I just got ChatGPT to bring it all together. And then after we put it all together, put it in a canvas, got it downloaded as a Word document, then we had ChatGPT review it, and he literally used that review and sent it off as like, I've done everything you've asked, and also here's my review on how we can make it better. Supposedly, he thinks I saved him about 3 or 4 hours doing all of that. It took me 5 to 10 minutes, and I was actually going back and forth to my computer as ChatGPT was thinking. I was doing something on my computer. I was going back. So, everyone is picking it up. The age should not be a barrier.
No, for sure. Okay, so back to Claude Code.
Claude Code, yeah. Okay, so Claude Code runs off the same models as the rest of Claude. We've got Opus 4.5, which was actually designed for coding. It's super intelligent, super fast, but it's the most expensive model. You've got Sonnet and you've got Haiku as well. What people are saying is that everyone should use Opus for anything complex, because even though it's more expensive, it gets to the root of the problem faster using less tokens. So
Mhm.
although one token is more expensive in the long run, they're actually saying that it's cheaper. I don't know. I think, like most things, you pick the right LLM for the right task, and you pick the right model within that LLM for the right task again. So we're all running off the same Claude ecosystem, but Claude Code has been designed specifically for developers. And even though that's the case, so many people like me are actually jumping in and using it for other things. Hence why they released Cowork, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, the crazy thing about Claude Code, the thing that makes it amazing, is that it has other things built into it. It has planning mode, it has agents, it has skills. So when you use it and you've built out all of these things, there's something called a Claude MD file. When you start a big project, you fill out this Claude MD file, or you get Claude to do it, and that becomes the baseline context for your project. And so if you spin up multiple iterations of Claude Code for the one project, it all reads, each one of those read the Claude MD file to get the context of the project.
Wow,
And
you've
that,
lost me already. That's some I don't
okay.
understand any of that. So what is it then? Give me some very simple basic examples that I could be using Claude Code for, and how that all, the context of
Okay.
how that all fits in.
Other than those awesome features that I mentioned, the probably the biggest, most important aspect of Claude Code is that it interacts with your file system on your computer. So it is manipulating files, creating files. It is doing that. So that's the biggest difference between Claude Code and Claude. Does that make sense?
So when you say manipulating files on my computer, what does that mean?
So let's say you gave it access to your desktop, and then you
Oh,
said, "Can you clean up my desktop?" It would ask you a few questions, and it would clean it up.
this sounds like a dream. Like it can do that?
It can do that. That's like on the most simplest side, yes.
Oh my God. Okay, right, keep going. Go, go, go.
So that's the big thing. Like that's if you think about a developer and what they used it for, they're writing lines of code. Where do you write lines of code? In file systems on your computer. So that's the biggest difference. Like you can use MCPs to do that with normal Claude, but it's not designed for that. So, for instance, you could have a folder with a load of receipts. I saw this recently. I'm stealing this from the Startup Ideas podcast. They had a folder full of receipts. They said, Claude Code, can you go into those receipts, work out, rename them appropriately so I can easily see what they're about? And then it did that within seconds. And then can you create this into a spreadsheet that I can provide to my accounts person? It did that very quickly. And then using the Claude Chrome extension that allows Claude Code to control your browser, and they said, can you open up Gmail and send it to my accountant? And then it took a little bit longer, but it did that also.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to park this question because I think there's a lot to discuss before that. But the first thing I think of is this safe? Like having something, giving it access to so much,
Hmm.
giving it so much autonomy of your. There's so much on my laptop and in my files, things like that. Like stuff I probably can't even think right now, which I might not want it to be able to have access to. How do
You're right.
you?
You don't want it to. You don't want it to find all of your conversations with ChatGPT because then it's going to get jealous.
It's like, yeah, okay. All right. Cool.
What you do, depending on what you use. So I use Cursor, and Cursor is a IDE is a development environment. So I load up a folder, which is the project that I'm working on, and I start Cursor in there. And then in the terminal part within Cursor, I say Claude Code run inside of this folder. So in that scenario, it is just accessing what's in that folder. I'm not starting it up in like my root. Even desktop, right? Even if you start up in desktop, it's still only seeing the things that are on your desktop. It's not going into all of your different documents.
How do we know though? That's
Uh,
another conversation for another day, but anyway.
a real developer, I'm not a developer. A real developer would have a really simple answer to that. It will be something to do with permissions. But if you go, so Claude Cowork, let's just talk about that for a second. So what's happened is Claude Code wasn't even meant to be a project, as I understand it. The developers inside of Claude were using a version of Claude, which is now Claude Code, to develop Claude, essentially. And so that's how it came apart. It came about. It was developers wanting these tools, and as they've released Claude Code, people like me, non-developers, have found ways to use it, and because of that, it's out in the world, and people are finding use cases. They now realize that there's a massive barrier to entry, and that's the whole terminal thing. When you have to start something up in the terminal, you have to load it. You have to understand that you have to go to Claude Code website, copy that. It's not a prompt, but the information, stick it into terminal. That triggers an install. All of that stuff is. I can see it in your eyes. You've already glazed over.
Uh, no, I was
You don't
just
want to.
thinking, do we need to just again touch like, because I've just recently learned this, so maybe it's useful to others. Like, what is terminal? Specifically because I use a Mac, you help me figure that out, right?
Yeah, I actually think no. I don't think we need to go into it. If
Okay.
somebody wants to understand how to install Claude Code on their terminal or via cursor, they should just go YouTube it, because it's super. There's so many videos all showing
Okay.
how to do it. Or you could just go to Google Claude Code and you'll see there's a beautiful tutorial on how to do it. The
Okay.
important thing to know is that upon seeing this is why I love Anthropic. Anthropic are so down to earth. They're looking and talking to their users,
Mm-hmm.
and they've seen this trend, and they've gone, right, well, how about we build our version of an IDE that doesn't require any of that stuff into Claude Desktop? And that's where Claude Cowork has come about. So if you go to Claude Desktop now, you will see on the left hand side in the side menu there is 3 tabs: Chat, Cowork, and Code. And Cowork allows a non-dev to do so many of the things. So, for instance, you could go in there, and you talked about permissions, concerns. You go and you tell it the place that you want it to operate, and then it pops up and says, "Are you sure you want to allow? Do you want to allow just now, or do you want to allow for the whole of this conversation?" So you have those limits. You can be secure, and then you can pop it in your desktop, or as I do, I have a whole project. So this project could be for a particular client, and I say, I want you to work in here. And then you can, and the best thing about it is you can spin up multiple iterations, and you can run these things in parallel. Now, Claude Code works best when you plan things out. So it has this whole planning function that I was mentioning. You start there. And that's instantly different to using Claude in the desktop. You go, this is what I want to achieve, pop it into plan mode, and then it will ask you questions. And you can also trigger another thing. I think it's ask user questions, uh, inbuilt tool, and then it will even go deeper and it'll ask you a load of questions. Once you've got the plan, then you can get Claude Code to start writing files. So different to creating an artifact or a canvas if you're ChatGPT, or Gemini for that matter, it will actually just create documents for you, Markdown documents, Word documents, Excel documents. And so you can build a whole strategy around whatever it is you're doing based on the IP that you've taught Claude. And you give it the IP by having a project folder that has the context, that has both, like, let's say you're operating on a client project, has the context about who that client is and how they operate, but it also has the context on your service. What are you delivering to them? How do you do it? That trains Claude. And the first thing that it will do is it will create this MD file, as I mentioned before, that then gives just a very like bullet pointed context on this particular project. And these tools that developers have been using every single, AI developers, like every single day for nearly a year or maybe more, like anyone can leverage these things, because once you understand a process, let's now talk about monetizing IP a bit, because everyone's probably getting here and going, right, Devi stuff, I'm bored. I don't know, Tanya, where are you at? Am I good to continue? Have you got any burning questions?
No, I think my next logical one was just understanding, like you said, how this can be monetized.
Yeah.
You're talking about with your IP, but yeah, anyway, yeah, go for that. I think that's going to be a good step.
Okay. So let's say you run an agency. Let's say a web agency. No, let's say a marketing agency. So as a marketeer, you do various things. You're going to onboard your clients. You're going to want to understand who they target, what's their core persona. Then you're going to be creating some sort of marketing strategy and deploying that, executing it. It could be an email campaign, could be an ads campaign, so on. You will have like if you're a decent marketing agency, you'll have a framework, SOPs that you use day to day, right? Are you with me so far? Okay. This is your IP. As a service-based business, how you do something and how you've documented it, the templates you use, that's all your IP. So you bring all of that into a project folder and you outline, here's my folder for onboarding. This is what we do. Here's my thing for strategy. Here's some examples. Here's the templates that we use. Here's for my ads creation. Here's all of the best ones that's worked. Here's all of that kind of stuff, right? So then so that's your IP all in one place. When you spin up Claude Code, it's going to read those things and you're going to be able to take action. So you're going to say, hey, we're going to work on onboarding this client. Then you can give Claude Code the information about the client. It will then look at the frameworks that are inside your onboarding folder in order to do a really quick onboarding session. And so what mine does is it says, this is what we've got. This is what we're missing. These are the questions you need to ask. So it reviews everything. And then once it finalizes gathering all of those questions, that essentially becomes your context for the rest of the project. Are you with me so far?
Yep, I'm with you.
Is it of interest? Are you feeling it?
Absolutely.
Am I losing you?
No, I mean, it's just me absorbing something for the first time. So I'm
Yeah.
just really intently listening and focused.
Okay.
So
Okay,
don't
great.
worry about I am really interested in this. It sounds great.
Fantastic. Okay, good. So then we go on to the next stage. So let's say you're building a strategy. I will now add a little bit of complexity just to really fuck with your brain. um, I would use agents. So agents are pre-prompted versions of Claude Code, a little bit like a GPT or a ChatGPT project. So I'd actually use an onboarding agent and a marketing strategy agent. And then I would also have a skill. So like one of the skills that I've employed that I love is a tone of voice checker. So anytime that I build any kind of content out for our clients, I will have a tone of voice document in that project. And so the tone of voice checker is a skill that the agent deploys and it goes through that content and goes, does it actually match up? And I'll be honest, even it doesn't matter how many times you tell AI to use a tone of voice, it will still trail off. And so the tone of voice checker goes, oh, you're about 80% of the way there or 90% of the way there. You just need to change this, 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 and this. And it's so easy. Once you've built it once, you just go use the tone of voice skill and it goes and it does it. Doesn't need any other prompting. Okay. So are you with me thus far?
Yes, I am.
Just want to keep checking in, make sure I haven't lost you and hopefully haven't lost any of the listeners. I think as just a very quick caveat, this is complex, but it's not like one of those things that is really complex and it's hard. Like
Yeah.
once you get over that first hurdle
Yeah.
and you start using it, it actually becomes exceptionally easy. You got to remember, I'm not a coder. Yes, I've played around with these things for a while, but I'm not overly technical. If I can do it, everyone listening can do it for sure. And
Yeah. Awesome.
this is the kind of thing we talk about in our school community, Make Money with AI, which will be linked below. This is, we take people through how to monetize their IP. So you're not, and we do this for free, right? So for those that you don't know, like, and jump in, Tanya, whenever you want, like, it's our passion to help as many entrepreneurs succeed in this AI era. And yes, of course, we have a paid program, but that is really for people that have hit a few notches, both in their business and with AI. In our free school community, we actually just there philanthropically helping people. We want people to win at AI, and we want them to get to a stage where they will work with us in that paid program. But there's no sell until they've reached that point. So my action, my request is, after you finish this video, jump in, join, and talk to us about what you want to achieve, whether you want to scale an existing business, whether you want to launch a new AI business, or whether you just want to learn more. We welcome everyone.
Yep.
Anything to add?
Oh, I echo what you say. Like, well, the conversations that I'm having every day are people from all walks of life, all age groups, all backgrounds. And yeah, at every different stage you can think of with AI. I feel like it's something I should be doing, but I don't know what I'm doing and I'm overwhelmed, to, no, I've got a plan and this is what I want to do with it. I'm just stuck here. I just need to be able to get through this block to get to the next bit. And that's why you've done so well, James, is you've built these courses in there which help people move through each of those stages. And when you go in, because you're going to join the community, aren't you, everyone? Yes. Make sure you go through the start here, watch the videos. Watch the videos, and I'm saying that for a reason. Everybody, watch the start here videos, and then we'll make it really easy for you, because we're here to help for sure.
And if you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe. We've got like 30 subscribers, and we know that people are listening to the podcast. They're loving it, but they're not subscribing yet. Subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a lot more content even beyond the podcast, like what I've mentioned, the Claude Code share, how I've monetized it, that step by step. That will just be an unrelated video. So jump in. You won't see it unless you subscribe.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's bring this one home.
Yep.
If you stayed with us thus far, you're doing a great job.
I would say yes. For this particular episode, very good job.
What you need to know is that when you structure your IP, when you've gone through all of these frameworks, you understand the value that you're giving, you can outline different agents to do these different tasks. So the way that I actually start my day now is I spin up Claude Code, and I spin it up for multiple projects. And I always start with plan mode, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And so I will go, right, I'll spend 15 minutes on each project. For this project, this is what I want to achieve today. So we need to look at this, start plan mode. Plan mode takes a while. So I'll go and do that with different projects.
Yeah.
Then I will cycle back round. And I might even have multiple iterations of Claude Code in each project. So they're all running plan modes. I'm getting like huge plans made.
Yeah.
And then I will go into each one and I'll spend some time. Right, project A, I've allocated 1 to 2 hours on this. Now I'm going to have a look at those plans. I'm going to talk to Claude Code, and then I'm going to say, right, deploy this agent with this skill, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to start doing stuff for me. But I'm not a set and forget person. After I've done that for each project, I then loop back around, and then it's about iterating. It's about keeping the human in the loop. What does the content look like? Or what does the strategy look like? Whatever it is that I've created. If you just worked on one thing and you waited for Claude Code, you would probably spend a similar or even more time on it. The great part about Claude Code is how you can run things in parallel. So you I have at least started to completely change how I approach my day, because it goes in this section. And now with planning mode running side by side, and then once I've got tasks and I'm pushing them out to my different Claude Code agents, you can imagine, like, I'm running multiple projects in a day, whereas I might have only got 1 or 2 done. And so I can deliver much faster to the same or even better quality than I could before. And I'm actually seeing, we're getting rid of contractors because we don't actually need them.
Yeah.
Or we're using contractors to review what we've done instead of doing all of the grunt work and us having to pay them a couple of $100 per hour.
Yep.
So that's it. That is it. Like, and I know this isn't enough to take action. You take action by joining the school community, and we'll give you specific guidance. But this should highlight how any service business can be using Claude Code, Claude Cowork, to actually streamline what you're doing, providing more value, earning more money, delivering faster.
Yes. And what I'll add, just for those that maybe not at that established level yet, when we talk about IP, your expertise, your knowledge, everything that's been bubbling away in here and everything that you've been creating for time, many people come into the community and just like, but I don't have any experience. Like, I don't have this, and I'm like, you do. And what James has done great in one of the program's courses, Make Money with AI, the foundation starting point is helping you extract that from yourself, because you do have it. You do have it. It doesn't matter what age you are, you have experience and knowledge there that can be used. So don't let that hold you back at all. So yeah, fantastic. Good time to wrap it up, James. I really feel like it's really got me enthused. Like, I really want to go out now and start playing. I really like the idea of co-work, and absolutely, if it's going to go on my desktop and sort my life out, even better. Well, I'm going to see what else it can do for me. But yeah, that's really great. Thank you. And I think we'll do more of these, like you said. I think it was really good.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everyone knows how to take action. So
Yep.
I think we'll call it a day there.
Awesome. Yep. We'll see you up in the AI.